All right. Now we're live on both platforms. Perfect.
Great. So now we are going live all over.
So we're
So
live
as
on.
you guys,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so for those of you tuning in now, Demian and I were just discussing how we've had a bit of a hiatus, but we are back with our regular scheduled programming, if you will. And today's setup is a bit of an experiment for us. I'm in
Yes.
Toronto, Canada. Damian is in San Diego, California. And our future guests are all over the world. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what we've been up to. We've got a couple of great sneaks in store for you. One product related, another one resource related. And then
Nice.
we'll talk about kind of what's going on in XD world.
Yeah. So what you have been up to in Canada or like transitioning to Canada?
So other than trying to figure out a place to live and just all that normal life stuff when you make a big international move, um, I just registered for a UX design certificate program with the University of Toronto,
That's
and
amazing.
I this is our first week into the program, so it's really exciting. I feel like I've spent the last, oh my gosh, almost 5 years learning all about UX design and reading articles as part of my job day in, day out. And now I'm actually like immersing myself truly into a structured program to sort of reinforce all of the learnings that I've had in my time with Adobe. So really looking forward to learning more. Um, so as part of this like course and experience that I'm going through, we thought it would be fun to like discuss it a little bit with the community.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so there was a couple of questions that our class is working through this week. As we get to know a little bit about what UX design is and why it's important. And one of the the questions is, so why do we think that UX has become such a buzzword in recent years? And why do we feel like there's such a demand for user experience research and design currently? So, Damien, what are your thoughts? Like, why do you think UX has become a bit of a buzzword
It's kind of
in recent
like,
years?
no, yeah, it's almost like UX in the beginning was almost like this cool new term, like cooler companies were able to create cooler experiences, and it was kind of cool like years ago, but now it's almost like so needed. It's almost like if you don't worry about that, if you don't care about the UX, the experience that your users go through, all the touch points, right? Like in when they experience your brand, your service, it's survival mode for companies. It's not cool. It's almost like needed, highly needed, and this is super cool. So I think that's why so many amazing companies are out of business now because other companies did a better job and they create a better experience, not only cheaper but better experiences. In a lot of cases, I see companies doing like a more expensive service, but because it's a better service, people pay for it. Like Disney is a great example of that, and yeah, so that's my answer to it. I think it's
On the
on,
buzzword?
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
needed, like yeah,
And it's important.
yeah,
I
highly,
feel
highly,
like in the early days, like UX, like UI was way more of a buzzword than UX because UI was so tangible and like people could see it. But I feel like with user experience design, like we're reaching a point of maturity where it's beyond just like getting things to work. We're
yeah,
getting to the point where we're optimizing, right? And we're thinking about the people that are interacting with that technology. And even when I think about our day to day work, we work in totally different positions within Adobe on the XD team, but we really
mm-hmm,
understand that user experience is at every facet of the customer journey. It's not just at that point where you're actually using our software, but it's also this live stream right now.
yeah.
So you're part of the user experience with our brand and everything like that. So that's really interesting to me, is thinking about how user experience truly is important regardless of your function within an organization,
No, totally,
because
and
you know
it
everyone contributes to a good user experience.
it's a lot more than UI per se. Like if you look at UI, you think about screens, right? I'm thinking about pixels on a screen, but the interface to the user now, it's a lot more than that, and XD can help you with that. Like as you remember, we introduced voice, So you can do prototypes with voice, and you can really plan the service. And again, back to what I said before, you can really plan and map all the touch points that your user has with your brand, with your service, and then you can plan the user experience and the user interface with your brand. So it's a lot more than just pixels. And that's going to be like even bigger, I think, as we move to more voice-based interactions, and also like wearables. Sometimes it's presence. There's so many new things to explore, and it's super exciting. So I think we're super, super lucky to be involved in this discipline, and helping people having good moments. And as a consequence, brands sell more, but not as like the big goal, like let's make profit, like, and it's super good.
That's the thing. It's like you can't be like that, right? Good user experience is a lot of user-centered design, so it's kind of like a everybody wins scenario if you do it right. So it's great.
Totally.
I think we should stop and like give a quick shout out to all of the wonderful people who are tuning in here. I'm like so thrilled to be back on here streaming and see so many friendly faces, or friendly names, if you will. Chris Cannon, I saw you on there. Scott Perdue, Patrick Faller, who's one of our fantastic writers. We've got Shay on here.
Jason from Costa Rica.
Of course, Jason. Yes, so
Chris
many good
Cannon.
folks.
Yeah, so many awesome
great.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we appreciate your ongoing support. Thank you so much. And I also love some of the comments that we're seeing come through here. It's Scott, like, I think it was just reinforcing our point about how UX is really, a lot to do with how we're interacting with companies or products, and how that's branched out so much. It's no longer just a website and a newsletter, but there's so many different facets or touch points that we have with a user. That's great. Anyway.
Yeah, you can ruin the experience if one of the touch points are problematic, right? So that's why it's so important to map everything and create a better experience for everything. And it's fun. It's a lot of fun. When you see like a happy user, an excited user, it's like, okay, done. This is what we aim for. And
then you feel like you're also doing your job, right?
Yeah. And even with
a win for the user is a win for the designer too.
Yeah, like and I think a lot of people get surprised when, for example, the XD team answers tweets and all that, and that's part of like this new way of not only learning from the community, but also like giving it back and interacting, and this is like priceless, and it's so cool to see so many people now kind of saying good things to us, and the whole team gets super excited, and it's more energy to keep delivering, keep doing more and more. There's a lot of new features coming in 2019 for XD, and yeah, we cannot wait to use this channel to share that with you, and we're gonna have lots of different channels as well on different days, and yeah, it's gonna be a lot more than we did last year as a whole, like from Adobe. Super excited with that.
Yeah, for sure. It's a big year. Also, hang tight on the stream. We're going to get to it, but we do have a sneak coming up, so that is exciting. So I'm not the only one that has been hitting the books again. Demian, what have you been up to?
Yes.
You had some training going on?
Yes, I've been to, I always like, I'm a huge fan of Disney, right? I have a daughter, she's 4 now. And I was super like interested in learning the kind of the tactics and what happens behind of all these great experiences that they create, not only at like when you watch a movie, but also like when you go to the parks, and it was fascinating. So they have a lot of process in place, but all the employees, they have autonomy to kind of do more if needed. So they can create better experiences. So they can organize like surprise parties that like all of a sudden, like if someone is sad, they can. I had an amazing experience there when I had my ticket expired, like I missed it. I don't know, like it was my fault, and I got there, and the guy at the main entrance was like, yeah, your ticket is expired. He didn't have to check with anyone else, but he was like, because this is the happiest place on earth, welcome to Disneyland. And he was like, wow, and he started. So they're full of those things. But again, it's process, it's people, and also autonomy, right? People have the autonomy to follow the principles and do more. So that was fascinating. Highly recommend.
That's a great brand that really from start to finish embodies sort of what they're trying to invoke in their customers. Like, they really create this, you're true, like those feelings of happiness in everything they do. I did hear once that even if you ask I guess they call them all cast members.
Yes.
You ask a cast member,
Yeah.
which in and of itself really speaks to how the brand operates. But if you ask a cast member for direction somewhere, they don't actually point because it's somewhat aggressive.
Yeah.
So they actually use two fingers
For some countries,
point
yeah.
somewhere. Yeah. So it's like, it's just in all the little small details, right? And we all know when we're using a product or an application day in, day out, the little things matter. And
Yes.
well, for us creating the software, sometimes it takes time to get to every last little detail.
Yeah.
We certainly keep it in mind. So
Yeah,
that's
and
great.
I think the biggest lesson that I had there is that they have this common goal, like all the employees, and it's around creating happiness. So they're there not to clean the street, they're there not to do a movie, like make an amazing movie. They're there to create happiness, and that's their like big slogan. And we have ours in
Yeah.
XD, like design at the speed of thought, and we have a bunch of principles that also support that. So we want to create that amazing experience. And again, it's super nice to see all the comments that we're getting now on Twitter, like social media in general, like from people using XD and getting excited, giving it a chance, and then getting impressed. So the team is really, really excited to see all that. So feel free to keep doing that. And if you don't like
Yeah.
something, the team also really likes to see that. So it's really for us to know what's missing, what needs to be done, and it's super, super exciting. And again, we're gonna do a lot more in
Yeah.
2019. So that's that. And if you have like amazing brands and stories that you recommend other users and us to look at, please share with us here on the chat, and it'll be awesome to hear and learn more about those great brands and how we can learn from that to apply that to our experiences. Cool.
It's true. And I actually, as one of my first assignments in this course, I have to actually evaluate 3 different products user experience. So I would love your thoughts. Look, I'm crowdsourcing my assignment. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's terrible. No, I'll truly put the work in, guys. Don't you worry.
That's awesome.
Okay. So Demian, we have a sneak today.
Yes.
Do you want to give us a little background on the auto animate feature before we get going?
Yes. So let me first of all, let me get to my screen very quickly. This is you. Perfect. And let me share my screen.
Scott is wondering if Paul Trani's going to host a version of XD Sneaks. Not today. He generally likes to keep all of his sneak performances for Max.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so true.
And there's no guest celebrity here, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's so true.
If you could find the time.
All right. So can you see my screen? Let's see there.
Let me just,
Yeah, perfect.
let's see. Yeah, there we go. It seems to be working.
Awesome. All right, so I'll show one amazing feature that's coming into XD, and we announced. But going back a couple of points, like when we were learning, as you know, we have user voice, so adobeXD.uservoice.com. Anyone can suggest a feature request or file a bug there. We were trying to learn what people needed. And one of the biggest requests there was like the ability to animate elements within the same artboard. And that was huge. So in October, after like long months, if not years, we finally announced Auto Animate. So with Auto Animate, you can create things like this. So I tap here and that animation occupies the whole screen. And to get there, it's technically super easy. So let me do that very quickly for you. So I will create a smaller artboard just to show you and to fit the screen. So I can draw a shape. I'll give it a different color. Then I can have this as almost like my button, right? And then to get this animation in place, I just duplicate this on the second artboard by using Command D to duplicate or Control D on Windows. Then I just create the second like end state almost, and then I click here and in prototype mode. Now I'm in prototype mode, and I just drag a wire. Whenever my user taps here, I want to go to that artboard, but instead of being a regular transition like you had in the past from artboard to artboard, I can now auto animate. So XD will look for the layer name, for the shape, and it will make all the inner frames, let's say, to get to that scenario. And then when I tap on this one, I can go back here. So let me make this longer for you to see, and I'll do that too. So now if I test this, I hit play here and I have this auto animation running. So that was released in October. That was amazing. Auto animate. And you can go ahead.
One at Max.
Yes.
It was a big release at Max, one of a few.
Yes, and then you can create things like this. For example, you can create a tab scenario with just 2 artboards. And you can even use a drag to go from one artboard to another. So I can click and drag to go from one artboard to another using auto animate. So this is great. You can play with auto animate here in your computer, in Windows or Mac. But then auto animate was not ready yet for the web. So as you know, at any point, let me move my screen here for you to see, you can share this, right? And you can share for review, and that creates a link where anyone can give you feedback and give you comments, pins, to really give you that feedback that will help you iterate and do more. And very soon in our next release, we're gonna have the ability to have auto animate running on the web, and that's super exciting. And Andrew Shorten, one of the senior directors for XD, is he tweeted this. So if you want to see this in action, you can go to his tweet. I highly recommend you follow him. There's a lot of sneaks there from him. And then if you click here, you can see that there's a very complex animation taking place here. Make sure it fits. And this is all running in the browser, so people can give you comments, can give you pins, and you can truly create amazing experiences in the browser. So you can not only create those that are using auto animate, but now you can also see them running in your browser and get feedback. So this is the sneak for auto animate. Let us know what you guys think.
Working in the browser. This is great.
Yeah, so let me get Lindsay back here. All right, so that's auto animate running in the browser, coming very, very soon. And make sure you follow not only XD, but also Andrew and all the amazing XD people. Jonathan, the PM behind auto animate. There's a lot of good content coming from them all the time. All right, what else do we have, Lindsay? We have, I heard there's a UI kit in the making.
So yeah, I mean, you guys, if you've been following our releases closely, you'll probably notice that for every month that we push out a new product release, we're also pushing out a new UI resource that you can jump into and use to kick off your designs quickly. We've had the privilege of working with some top designers all around the world who do amazing stuff. You'll probably recognize some of their names from Dribbble and Behance and beyond. So we were very lucky to commission a UI kit working with Xenia Rinzuk again. Demian, are you able to pull that up on your computer? Let me open that
very quickly.
Get it pulled up. So this is very much an inspirational UI kit. There's really sort of striking photography. There's over 50 components and 10 pages worth of content. So the idea behind this is that we're creating kind of like a fashion editorial e-commerce website. So if you were doing something for a fashion designer or someone who was doing, like, say, homewares or something that was very sort of fashion oriented, this would be a great kit to dabble into.
Yeah,
so
and unfortunately, I don't have the draft anymore in my drafts. I don't know what happened, but yeah. But do you have access to it? I can, if you share your screen, people will be able to see that.
Yeah, let's see.
Again, we're learning about this new setup. Let's see if we have questions.
I know. We do have a ton of resources for XD, which if you go to adobe.ly/XD, you'll find a resource page. And not only will you find these really sort of thematic, beautiful...
Can you share your screen?
kits, you'll also be able to see all sorts of
There we
things.
go.
So let's see if we can pull that up.
Yes, we can see your screen now.
Right. Do I need to make it a little bigger for everyone?
And that's you and me.
There we go. Got the 10 pages. Just beautiful work. So you guys will be able to get your hands on this XD file very soon, along with the feature that we just sneaked. So
Yeah,
really excited to release this in the wild.
that's amazing. Yeah, it looks beautiful. And it has a lot of animations there, right? And people will see that there's a lot
Yeah,
of...
we'll see if the live stream supports this.
Yeah, there's a lot of connection. Like, yeah, it's a lot smoother than that, I promise. It's super smooth. And we're streaming your stream to my computer, so that makes it slow, but it's super fast on your computer, I promise.
Yes. Pushing through a lot of high quality images here.
I know.
This is great. Yeah, it just goes on. It's really beautiful. It's definitely one of those things to dive into and play around with. Super inspirational. Xenia goes one step further. She actually hires a photographer and does like all of her own she hires models and actually does all of her own photography. So it's
Yeah.
she really put a lot of thought into the design that she does.
Now this is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Really well done.
All made with XD for XD.
And all the animations made in XD as well, which is even better.
Got it.
All right.
Okay.
That's
I don't want to give it
beautiful.
all away, so I'm going to stop sharing now.
Let me go back here
Very
to
cool.
us. Perfect. And also, like the last thing maybe that we can mention here before we look at questions, if there are any, is that we're running a daily creative challenge series again, right? So we have one happening, and the challenge for today is to create, it's number 5. It's to create an experience, an app that in XD to help you send cash in a smart way using the watch. So there's a link, and I think Gabrielle can post the link there, where you can not only learn about the challenge, where you can go through and play with it, but you can also download an XD document that helps you with just getting some assets and go from there. So that's there. And every day there's a new challenge. Super awesome experience for you to play with XD and ask questions. We have a Slack channel where people from the XD team also answers like questions there, and we answer a lot of we get a lot of feedback, and we answer a lot of questions there as well. Yeah, I think we covered everything that we wanted to cover today, Lindsay. It was good.
Yeah.
Everything seems to work. I think next week will be even better. And
Yeah, there were a couple questions that did come through about some feature requests. One was asking, what about hover in terms of a feature?
yes, hover, like mouse in, mouse out for websites. That's something in the roadmap for 2019, and it's gonna land later this year. But yes, the team is on it. And again, if you have
Great.
feature requests like that, please go to user voice, adobexd.uservoice.com, or go to Twitter or Facebook. We're all ears, and we love feedback. So please keep sending it to us. Request like that, please go to user voice. Oh, I see my
Perfect.
board. All right.
Just a minor hiccup over here.
I
We're all good.
know. We're good. All right, guys. So
All
I
right, everyone.
don't see any other questions here. But
No, I'm not seeing any more coming through. But even if you do submit your questions through, we continue to keep an eye on that chat as well. We have Gabrielle working on the channel as well. So we've got a good crew that will always answer your questions, whether it's now during the stream or later. But thank you all again for the warm welcome back. Demian and I, like I said, we're off to IXDA's Interaction 19 conference in Seattle next week, and we're going to do our best to do a special live stream from there if the internet will allow us. So stay tuned to our channels for more information on that. Otherwise, we'll be back with lots of updates in the coming weeks.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you, guys. It was great to talk to you again.
Everyone.
Bye.